Then, so moving on to, so what are we going to look at is aspects related to duplicate and temporary cases, right? We'll talk about what are duplicate and what are temporary cases, why are they important. So let's talk about this, right? So what are duplicate cases here? So how do I know that the case is duplicate, or why is it important to know it's a duplicate case? Why not just why not just process both of them? Talking in a business scenario, suppose let's take this scenario where you are dealing with an insurance based application. Okay, now suppose there is some ailment in the family, one of the family member is going through a surgery or something. The surgery is successful, all good. Now you can claim for the surgery from your insurance provider. Okay, so for example, assume today you have raised a claim request. You have given in all the documents, all the details and surgery details, all of it you have given. And then probably after next week, again you are raising a claim request and it says it is processing. What if both your claim requests are processed and you received your amount? So are they duplicate requests? Yes, right. For the same ailment, you have raised 2 requests and you received amount for both of them. So look at the financial loss that is going to happen from the insurance provider. Right? So along with the so aspects of your data management or time taken for handling the claim request. So along with all of that, there is also a monetary loss coming up. Yes. So it's always good to identify duplicate cases when it comes to business transactions. Right? So rather than the, like you said, rather than the time saving or rather than the data management, then the monetary benefits or probably the monetary losses is what impacts a lot when it comes to duplicate cases. Okay? So it's always a good practice to include the identification of duplicate cases in your applications. Now let's take one more simple scenario here. Suppose you have ordered some groceries, or probably let's take the Swiggy. Okay? For example, for today dinner, you have ordered something. Okay? The same order you are repeating it for tomorrow as well. Okay? So the address is going to be the same, the payment is the same, the amount is the same, the items are the same. So now would Swiggy reject you saying that this is a duplicate case, we cannot take duplicate orders? No, it shouldn't be the scenario, right? So how would I decide whether it is going to be a duplicate or not? So it depends upon the kind of entities that you are having on the transaction. So what are the most unique aspects that you have on your application, and what if they match? Should I consider them as duplicate, or that depends upon the uniqueness of the entities that you're handling on the application. So I should not say that your address is the same, the order details is the same, the payment is same, so it's a duplicate order. No, the date is going to be different there, right? Or the time could be different. So I should consider those things before judging it as a duplicate transaction. Yes. Now, like I said, this identification of duplicate cases is not just randomly done. No. So we have a criteria coming up here. We will be designing a set of conditions, right? So the set of conditions are classified in basic and weighted conditions. Right? So basic conditions are when probably the basic entities match, whereas weighted conditions will give you a specific weightage. For each of the matching entity, you will get a weightage added, right? And then finally it is correlated against a standard weightage that you mentioned. Let's go ahead. We'll see how this is going to happen. This is a quick illustration of how you can find the duplicate cases. Okay. Yes, I've given all my weighted conditions, standard, basic conditions, all of it. But system is not going to decide. It's just going to show us that this might be a potential duplicate. Okay, remember this term, potential duplicate. The system says this might be a potential duplicate, but again, the authority lies with the person sitting who's looking after these transactions. It's again a choice of the operator, the customer representative or whoever is working. So to decide if it is really a duplicate or not. Okay? But the system is not going to decide it. It's not going to take any decision on its own. It will just show this might be a duplicate. But the decision lies with the customer representative or the end user, whoever is working on these transactions. We'll go ahead. We'll try to see this scenario. Before that, let us add in some entities or fields so that accordingly we can design our conditions. For example, related to this is related to the recruitment. So let me add in this first name, last name. So let me add in the last name and maybe email. So for email, I'm going to choose the type as email itself. And I will like to use phone. And then maybe the unique identifier or probably the most so-called unique aspect here is going to be the PAN number. For example, now I did not configure any duplicate search so far. So what we'll do is we'll run two cases with the exact same information. We'll see what happens. So we'll run two cases, C1, C2, and we'll see how is the system going to react with the exact same data in both the transactions. Okay, let me save and run. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is part of my create stage that we have. Yes, let's give in some details here. For example, okay, So first name Virat, last name Kohli, email some ABC, phone. Okay. For example, this is the details that we have. Let me submit. So the case just proceeds further because for the rest of the aspects we don't have any views defined. So it would just proceed further. Fine. Let me create one more transaction with the exact same details. Let's proceed. Okay, I'm going to give in the exact same details. So the system just proceeds. It isn't stopping me, it isn't identifying anything, it just proceeds. So which is absolutely, like you said, a wastage of effort, wastage of time, then space, and then obviously monetary aspects. Yes. And it is applying for the same job again and again, and I'm still processing it, which should not happen. That's where now we would be using a shape designed for identifying the duplicate cases, and it is going to be on more. Have a step designed for searching or identifying the duplicate cases. So yes, search duplicate cases. So this automatically searches for duplicate cases depending upon the conditions. So let me choose this. But whenever you get the basic information required for identifying the duplicate cases, immediately you can have it, or the very next step could be your duplicate case search. So you are in turn again kind of reducing the effort. Right? So as and when you get the basic level of information, you can define your duplicate case search. Okay. Now here comes the configurations. So what is the basic condition that you're checking for your duplicate search? So whenever maybe my first name and last name of a candidate are same, I can consider that to be a basic condition. Yes. Right? I think the same candidates can have, the candidates can have same first and last names. So just with regard to that, I cannot disqualify them saying this is a duplicate case. Right? So they could be probably the basic conditions. So let me add basic condition. Okay, so my first name is same. Okay, so let me click on okay. And similarly, when I want the last name as well, so you can add and let me add in another condition also, which is for last name. Yeah, last name is the same. And where is this comparison coming from? It's coming from so each entry that you make will be compared with existing set of records on the system. So your current case details are compared against the system of records. Okay. So my basic conditions are first name and last name are same. But just depending upon that, I cannot decide it's a duplicate. So then what do I need is my weighted conditions. Okay. So you can give a weightage for each specific entity here. So if two candidates give the same PAN number, then definitely it is a duplicate. Yes. Okay. So let me give the highest weightage for PAN details. Okay. And what is it corresponding to? Let me select. You can give another field and then you can select the. Okay. So now if PAN is same in two cases, then I will see or I will get the weightage added as 50. Okay. So likewise, I can give in different weighted conditions. Maybe the other one could be email. For the email. So the most unique one will have the highest weightage. For example, now your total weightage is 100, right? And you can give the threshold. This is going to be the threshold against which the overall weightage is calculated across. For example, now if I give this as 80, okay? So which means whenever all your weighted conditions sum is more than 80, then only the system will consider this as a potential duplicate. For example, let me give it 70. So what all combinations can you have when it is 70? Which means either the PAN and email should be same or PAN and phone should be same. Okay. In the other scenario, when just email and phone are same, I will not consider that as a duplicate case. Okay, so this completely depends upon the kind of business which we are dealing with and the entities that are involved. Let's see this. We'll just run and see. You will get to see all the conditions checked. Like for example, now let's see. I'm going to give the exact same details again. Now every detail is the same as our two other earlier cases, 1001 and 1002. Let's see. So we see that the current case was identified as a potential duplicate for these two cases. Right? So for both the cases, this is going to be a duplicate. Now I can also see why is it shown here. You can see the weighted conditions against which it is calculated. Told that we have given a 70, but unfortunately the aggregated score that we have got is 100 because all the entities matched. Right? So you can see what is the score corresponding to each one of it. It is the same. So I got 50 added, then 30 added, and then 20 added. So my score 100 is greater than the threshold 70. So the system identified that as a duplicate. Now, choice of the person working here, it could be a service representative or whoever it is, he can decide whether is this an actual duplicate or can he still proceed. Okay, if he chooses to ignore and continue, this would just be acted like any other transaction. So now maybe I can just ignore. I would like to continue. Yes, the case just proceeds like any other transaction. Okay. But what if he decides, no, or probably he decides that, yes, this is a duplicate. Then what happens is, let's see that scenario. What if the basic conditions do not match? Your first name and last name are not same. Then there's no point of going ahead and calculating the weighted conditions at all. Suppose for phone, I'm going to use something else. So here, if you see, my aggregate PAN and email are the same. Okay. So even though the phone number is different, I still see the system identified it as a potential duplicate. Now, if I would like to, yes, I see that this case is a potential duplicate for the rest of the cases. I can close this as a duplicate and I can tell with which case it is a duplicate. I can choose one and I can submit. So your case would no longer proceed further. It is just resolved as a duplicate. Right?